I have this term that I started using a long time ago, back when I was at Nike. So I have to tell you a story. It's a quick story. Hopefully, I'll keep it under 10 minutes this time. So I started getting successful as an engineer because I was, self-taught. I was autodidact and blah blah blah. And I was Nike's internals webmaster, and um, I knew Linux, and other people didn't even know what it was. This is like what, 97, and a bunch of stuff like that. In fact, I actually had the infrastructure team come to me and say, "Can we put Apache and Linux on your systems later?" And I was like, "Yeah, that's fine," because they wouldn't do it. They wouldn't put Apache on there. They had to put Netscape on there anyway. But what started happening is, because I had a really great manager, Barb, love you to death. I hope she's still happy and healthy. And she really stuck up for me, and she really helped me out, and she was watching out for me and all kind of thing. And but she also, and she wasn't. This isn't about managers sucking. I don't want anybody to misunderstand. This is this dumb term that I came up with that I don't have a better term for. But what managers suck is it's when you get asked to go to these meetings because you're an SME. You're a subject matter as an SME, subject matter expert. So subject matter experts get pulled in. Let's see what this subject matter experts get pulled into meetings more and more. Okay. And then what happens is their skills go down. So this happened to me. I started, I won an award because I set up their internet, blah blah blah, and I started getting some reputation with the company. I was a real go-getter. I would go out, and people would call me on the phone, and they had questions about how to put their department on the net. It was really a great time to be there because everybody wanted to put their first website inside of the company. They wanted to put it up, and they would call my phone. And so I would go out, it's kind of like a salesman. I'd go out there, my Mormon missionary training worked well. And I would say, okay, what do you need? We need this and this and this and this. And I'd say, okay, let's work with you on that. And I would help them to put their thing up. Right. And so the inevitable result of that was I started getting sort of this reputation as this, have tech, will travel kind of internal consultant that would walk around all over the place and help people out. And so obviously, because it's very matrix management, it's very, very, loosey goosey in terms of who you report to and what you do with your time. And so they say, as long as you're helping out, I mean, they're our customers. So they would ask for me to come to all these meetings, right? And I got stuck. I got stuck in meetings. I was like spending so much time in meetings that I was actually getting disconnected from the technology, from the tech. The thing that makes you an SME. So, and this is super dangerous. This is a dangerous risk. I want to make sure everybody understands this. You made meetings optional. Cool. So, but as you're entering your career, particularly when you're getting successful, because you're a go-getter and you're an autodidact, you got lots of energy and you want to help people. You're there for the customer. You're not there for the tech. Yeah, it's another. We can do a whole video just on that, right? You're being paid to help provide a service. You're not being paid to screw around with cool tech. I hate to break it to you, but it's the way it is. So you need to be there. You need to be touch grass, touch code. Yeah, I do. And so you're going to get pulled into a lot of meetings, and it's actually happened to my friend of mine. Beware of becoming someone's pocket tech. Okay. What pocket tech, right? You guys know like Pocket Medic from TF2. Do you know what I'm talking about? You get that ref? Maybe you do if you're gamers. But actually, I have a friend who became a pocket tech for CTO of a big company, and he loved it. He actually but he was like wined and dined. It was like he was the tech mistress for the CTO. I mean, he got totally wined and dined and got all these extra bonuses under the covers, not under the covers, but you know what I mean. And he loved it. We would share, even though he said, "Hey, you want to go rollerblading? I could do rollerblades today," or something like that. It was like he had like a total like guitar collection of all this stuff that he had because he was this pocket tech for the CTO, and they made the CTO look phenomenal, right? And maybe that's what you want. That's fine if that's what you want to do. So the thing I just want to show you is that this is the kind of thing that can happen to you in the enterprise. So you can be stuck And the thing that's really dangerous is it flatters your ego. Let's put that, flatters your ego. So you got to beware of that. Beware, right? When somebody says, "But you're the best, and we want you in our meeting," and yeah, but I got these other things I need to do, and I was going to practice using Apache, X and Y, or I was going to learn Perl, or Linux just has a new release, and stuff like that. And they don't care, right? Because they just want what they want, and you've been really good at providing for their needs, and that's when they really want you. And so then they'll because you're largely doing it for free. You're not. You're getting paid to do it, and now they're competing over you. So this will happen. This will happen if you're good. I promise you, this will happen to you, because it's Unix Pro 12 just dropped. So you're not going to have as much time to keep your hands in the code. And actually, you could make the case that the reason that the SRE Google made such a big stink about something that everybody was already knew, doesn't matter. That SREs meant, hey, you're an admin, but you have to have your hands in the code, and you have to stay hands on with the operation stuff. So this video could be really short. Just don't let yourself get flattered into becoming just a manager, because pretty soon you will start to grow pointy hair. And that is an internal cultural reference that I'll let you guys figure out. Stay close to the machine. The phrase that Ellen, oh, I love it. Thank you. Ellen Ullman said, stay close to the machine. If you get too far away from it, then you're no longer relevant. All the things that made you want to come there are not there, and you will grow pointy hair. And pretty soon, guess what? Then you'll start looking for your own pocket techs. I've seen this happen so many times. I've seen engineers all of a sudden become architects, right? So as soon as you start going to the architectural route, now you're just talking about the best choices somebody should make instead of actually doing the engineering. You're not actually plugging things in and setting computers up anymore. And who knows what Kubernetes is going to do to all of this, right? I mean, because Kubernetes is already a thing. And so you're going to get called into the architecture role, and now you're like making decisions. You're being paid more to make the decision about what to use, because they're paying you for expertise, not for your immediate technical engineering expertise, which got you that architectural knowledge. And then what? And now you're an architect. Now you're doing stuff, and you're doing nothing but architecture, and you don't have time to get anything done anymore. So what do? You hire engineers. And then all those engineers are doing the work. They're the ones with the hands-on, and they get doing it. And then you'd have to make a conscious decision. And by the way, unless I'm going to put this, unless you want to become a manager. And there are a lot of people that would argue that in the tech world, at some point, if you're going to realize your value, and this is why I actually left IBM based on a lie, that you're not going to get paid. Engineers don't make as much as managers. Bottom line, they don't. They should. It's like an age-old problem, right? The engineers, the people that are doing the work, the people who have the kick-ass skills that are crucial to the company, do not make as much money as the decision makers and the architects and the distinguished fucking engineers. That's the title from IBM. It's a total lie. It's a crock of shit. Don't ever believe it. The most insanely underskilled people I have ever met at IBM were distinguished engineers. And I left a great job at Nike, at least I thought I did. One of the things that convinced me to go over to IBM from Nike, because I was like, I don't want to work for that big, ugly company. And they were doing a peace, love, and Linux. Anybody remember? They were doing a big peace, love, and Linux campaign in the 90s, and they wooed me over. They were like all about open source, and they talked their big games, all bullshit, by the way. It's kind of not bullshit now. They bought Red Hat, so who knows? They still kind of like Linux. I don't know. Make your own decision. But the point is, they got me over there because they had this title called Distinguished Engineer. And this is the way I thought my career was going to go. It's like, okay, engineer. No, not going to your SME meeting, staying an engineer, making not a lot of money. Boom, ceiling, right? I hit my ceiling. I can't make more money because I'm just an engineer. I'm just a programmer. That's all. And then you have to decide, do I make a cutover to management and then go management, architect, CTO? Now you're just making money for bullshit reasons because honestly, America or whatever, the salaries up in the CTO and CIO range, no offense, Jenny and others, they're not based on anything, besides a theory. the ether out there. I don't know what they're making. They're making money because there's a lot riding on them if they go bad, right? So so I actually mistakenly thought that the distinguished engineer position at IBM, Christ, the CIO. We have CIOs and CTOs who are beloved members of my community, but they know what I'm talking about. Believe me, they do. Otherwise, I wouldn't be here. They're here because we're boots on the ground here. We're like, we talk engineering stuff most of the time. And it's not the first time, by the way. I've had multiple executives. They know that I've like forcibly kept myself down. When I mean that, I mean it. I mean, I was offered in writing $250,000 for, a CTO type position. I'm flexing here. I'm just trying to say I could do it if I wanted to. I just haven't. I've forcibly kept myself down, and it's hard. It's hard because there's big money there. But I would rather have my hands in the tech, and I've even talked to my media manager about this very problem. So why don't engineers organize themselves? Oh, you're talking about going against the bigger powers that be. So let me just finish the story of the distinguished engineer thing. So I thought at IBM, a distinguished engineer, oh my God, that title is so cool. That title is so awesome. It's like they're an engineer. They're still getting paid executive money, but they're still hands-on engineers, right? There's a title out there right now called staff software engineer, right? And I don't know if I actually put it in my title for YouTube, I think. It's like, does that actually mean that they're hands-on? That they're going to continue, that some company's actually going to pay what you're worth and experience? I mean, seriously, if I were paid for every bit of experience in my 50s, if I were paid for every single thing in my 50s, including all of my language skills and everything else, I would be making crazy gobs of money. But nobody pays you for every skill that you have, unfortunately, not in this world. So, staff engineer was my entry level title. Staff engineer was your entry level title. Are you kidding me? Really? Because that's actually a pretty. They can't decide what title to use. It doesn't really matter. It's like, what are you doing, right? What are your skills? So I'm going to end this video now. This video is really about choosing your own destiny. Do you want to be, I can't make it work, Captain, the Scotty who overestimates things and underdelivers. There's a really great Bologna quote, by the way. Captain Janeway says, aren't you going to tell me it's going to take 2 weeks and do it in a day? And she goes, no, that would be unethical. It was a direct stab against Scotty. It's one of my favorite quotes from Bologna Torres and Voyager. My second favorite quote from Bologna Torres and Voyager is, she says, engineers build civilizations, warriors get the glory. And I feel like that's true for managers. So engineers build civilizations, and managers get the glory. And this goes all the way back to the Douglas Engelbart, the guy who did the mother of all demos. He did the whole demo off of a team of engineers who set it all up for him and didn't even mention their names. So yeah. So that's kind of my point on that. Hopefully I mean this to be fun. I'm not attacking you. Please don't feel attacked if you're in any of those positions, but please just know that's a thing. And we're gonna go ahead and leave it at that. If you want to stay an engineer, you're gonna have to make sacrifices. You're gonna be working harder. You'll have clout within the company and within your team, but you're probably not gonna get paid for it. But you can easily leave that team and go to any other team. The disadvantage of becoming a pointy-haired person manager is now you're being paid based on seniority and pecking order and managerial skills, and those jobs are a lot harder, particularly in the middle ranks. Don Tapscott predicted in the digital generation back in the 90s that if you had middle in your name, you needed to get out of it because it was going to get eliminated. And it was the whole movement for, this crunching of hierarchies that happened because of the internet. And he was right. If you're a middle manager, you were seeing this all over the point with Kubernetes and other stuff. We don't need you. You have engineers that are reporting directly to customers now and to the executives. And so there's far fewer layers in the middle. And if you get pulled over into an SME role, the next after that is probably a manager, unless you can jump all the way up to an exec like a CTO or CIO. You may end up in a spot that's pretty precarious because you're making a lot of money, you're used to a lot of money, but you don't have the engineering skills to maintain that level of income, and you're betting on the possibility that if they get rid of you, and by the way, I've seen many middle managers get chopped. You know why? Because it's the easiest to do. Because when IBM made a massive layoff, and the people who got laid off were the people who got paid the most. That was it. They didn't even look at their and I went to my manager. I was like, did they even look at the skill sets of these people? They said no. They took the people with the highest salaries and they got rid of them. And I learned at that time to make myself a good deal. I didn't know for sure, but I kind of kept myself a good deal, even though I was making enough and to do the job. So, but that meant that I never got chopped. I lived through 3 massive layoffs at IBM, and I was the one of 2 people left on a team of 15 people that got let go, because I was a good deal and because I had championed the architecture of the thing, and I had kept myself an SME with the hands-on skills. And I believe that's the reason I survived all that personally. And I ended up leaving on my own terms. So that's the end of that video. Hopefully it'll give you something to think about.